So I had you, kind of give a response to a person who's considering being a cop, or was currently a cop, who's thinking about, should I vote for you? So what would be your response to people in the community who are fearful of the police?
Well, one, police accountability has to be a cornerstone of any functioning society, right? I mean, that's just it is. And so if a police officer steps over the line, if they have patterns of behavior that don't fit an inclusive society, then we have to correct it. And again, they'll go through a process, but that has to be a cornerstone.
Absolutely.
And then part of that is understanding the neighborhoods. People will call that cultural competency. That's a combination of training and where we recruit folks, and gets back to, we need to recruit from the city. We need to recruit from the communities where there's under policing right now, where there's fear. And so I'd start with those two pieces. And at the end of the day, I think for us to get out of this crime challenge we're having right now, there's gonna have to be a partnership between neighborhoods, police, and some of our other organizations. And I think ongoing connecting the dots, communicating about the fears and the perceptions, getting on the table, I think that's part of cultural competency, right? I mean, that's actually, this is what you see and what you hear, but this is what I hear and what I see, and we need to put that on the table. And it's not just a one and done. That is an ongoing process and dialogue that needs to be part of going forward. Another piece that you allude to, though, the misconception about crime. And we talk about things like catalytic converters.
I'm telling you, the catalytic converter situation is a problem. I've had 3 that have been stolen from my vehicle in the last 17, 18 months. Very frustrating.
Very frustrating, rightfully so. Or when someone's vehicle that they used to go to work is stolen, and they're out. Those crimes are out of control.
They are out of control. I'm sorry. I'm a Pentecostal churchgoer, so call and response. Like, I am giving you a yes. Okay. So when I repeat what you say, it's because yes, you get it. I had a chop shop maybe we live between MLK and Marine Drive. We had a chop shop right off of the Marine Drive exit for like 8 months. There were like hundreds of car parts and cars that were placed there, and people on different apps talking about their vehicles being stolen. They were going to work and they jumped out of the car, or they tried to fill up the tire on their car and someone jumped in it and stole it. Like, oh my gosh.
I mean, they would drive right in through. They built up a big tent. You could drive right in. It was like.
Did you see that?
I did see it. I know exactly what you're talking about. It was but the reality of those crimes, right? So much of it is driven by drug addiction, and we're seeing this with a lot of the property crimes. And the data right now is the majority of those committing those crimes are white.
That's right.
I mean, it's like that is a reality in Portland, Oregon. If you're talking about your property crimes, particularly the ones that are, feeding a drug habit, the perpetuators of that are largely white, right?
And when we say the word crime, a lot of people think that the bias jumps in, that like an image will jump into your mind, and that image tends to look more like me, right, than the actual folks who are out there right now. So I wanted to really just highlight the fact that there are these, when we use this language of crime, sometimes when we use that language, people think that you're talking about over-policing Black communities, over-policing brown communities, over-policing immigrant communities. But it's helpful to hear that you understand the nuances of some of the most pervasive crimes that are happening right now throughout the city of Portland as not being inflicted by people of color.
In Cyrilda, one of the pieces that just, and the whole discussion about homelessness, which we want to apply a lens and apply it in multiple settings to try and reinforce the narrative. And when you're talking about the unsheltered on the streets of Portland, it is disproportionately white, not but majority white. And it's like, and as is the crime that comes from feeding addiction. But we want to apply some, lens that hasn't been tested, and that is not the reality in that subset.